AM 1450, FM 99.3 KNSI. Welcome to Taking You Home with VoigtJohnson Real Estate. Every Thursday morning at 7:23, Saturday morning again at 7:50. Start your home search at VoigtJohnson.com. I love saying this. Howdy, Heidi.
How's it going, Bob?
Nobody's ever said that before, I'm sure. You know,
Never.
One of the things that can be very, very confusing, and especially if you're a first-time home buyer or a second-time home buyer or whatever, the whole process about doing this. This is your world, right? You live in this, eat it, breathe it, sleep it every single day.
Yep.
I do not.
Nope.
Right? I'm not a car mechanic. I go to the car mechanic to fix my vehicle.
For sure.
I need to call on real estate professionals if I'm buying or selling a house. What do we need to know?
Well, I'm starting from the perspective of home buying, and I think that, we assume that people know stuff if they have bought a home, but even people who have previously bought a home, they might not remember, or the way that they bought that home is different than the way things are done now. But the very first thing that I like people to know is that if you see a house that you like and there's a sign in front of that yard, you can certainly call that on that sign, but you don't have to. You can actually engage a person to represent you that would be able to bring you into any home with a sign, right? So, and that's where the representation comes in play. And this, I'm reminded of this when I'm doing an open house and you have somebody walk in and they've been waiting for the house to have an open house to see it.
Yes.
And I go, well, you can call somebody, and if you had somebody that was working with you, they could have showed it to you last Tuesday before it was in multiple offers, those types of things.
But you know what happens? I see these signs all the time, because Kat and I have been looking for a long time, right? And I see, open house coming up, next weekend.
Yeah.
So I will wait.
Oh, yeah. And
how silly am I?
Yeah, sometimes it's gone already.
Exactly right. Duh. Bob, wake up.
Yeah. So there's, the lowest level starting point would be that you can get some representation. Now, the first person that you meet, in a house, in an open house, or first person that you might call on to show you a home, that doesn't necessarily have to be the one. You can look for a connection.
Right.
And I've had that happen, I think, twice in the last couple of weeks, where somebody has, they've met somebody here and there, and I might be the fourth agent that they've met, and they're like, okay, I feel comfortable with you. And that's what you want. You want somebody that understands your goals and feels comfortable.
Well, the word relationship comes back, doesn't it?
It does.
Every single time. Because I will tell you this, folks. You could move away from a community, right? You sell your house, but you might move back there, or your kids may still be living there, and they want to buy a house. What are they going to do? Dad, who is your realtor? Who can I call? Yeah. It's all about the relationship.
It is, and the relationship's important, because if you have that relationship, your client's goals become your goals, right? And that's a big deal. So, but I think that low level, who do I use kind of thing is a important education piece, because people can get into a situation where all of a sudden they're signed up with an agent that they don't have a lot of confidence in all of a sudden.
Exactly.
So,
okay, can you back out of that?
Once
you sign the contract,
it's a contract.
Right. Okay,
yeah.
So think about that, folks. Yeah. Okay, what about lenders? Same thing?
Well, and that's going to be part of the process. So you meet an agent, hopefully, first of all, but sometimes you meet a lender first. Yeah. But that piece of it's really important, to sit down with somebody and say, okay, well, what kind of options are available to me? Where do I want to live? What is my level of what I can purchase at, and do I feel comfortable with that payment?
Yeah.
So that when you truly dig in and start shopping around, you're not over shopping or under shopping. You know what your budget is.
Maybe you get really lucky like I did. My wife was a real estate agent before we got married, right? And freaked out. My first house, we've told this story, 57.9 here, 1101 14th Street North in St. Cloud, right? 57.9, I am dying. And she goes, don't worry, Bob, it's only on paper.
Yeah.
Okay. But you must run into that with first time home buyers, that they just, I'm spending how much?
Well, and I wish that was the reaction.
Really?
Actually. I think that maybe people are a little bit more reserved, but I do think that there's this challenging piece of the lending process where when somebody's pre-approved for something, they assume that lender has a full view of what their financial situation is and that they can afford it. So if somebody says, yeah, you can afford a $2,300 payment, they're like, oh yeah, I can. Where sometimes you have to scroll back and say, well, they don't know about daycare. They don't know how many kids I have in hockey. They don't know that I have
Right.
other obligations that I'm looking at. So you get that number, and then you have to actually implement it into your own budget and say, do I feel comfortable? And that's where some of those additional conversations come into play.
Life can be a lot more expensive than what shows up in your credit report.
For sure. Exactly.
Okay, so plan for your sale of existing property if needed. How do we do that in such a tight market?
Well, I think the first thing is you have somebody go in there and say, okay, these are the things that you need to do, like the improvements that we've talked about doing to get your maximum value. And then find out, do I need to sell my house in order to buy? Is my house ready to go on the market? And what things are going to need, and look at that whole picture, because we are in a climate that is very competitive now, but as you scale up into upper end homes, it is going to be a reality that there are people buying homes contingent on the sale of another home.
Okay.
And so in order to do that, you have to have your house ready to go on the market. Because if you're making an offer and it's contingent on the sale of my home, you're going to have that house on the market within 3 to 5 days.
Okay, you're not a lender?
No.
Are they still doing bridge loans?
I see people doing them right now. Yeah, but again, I would say that that's mostly in, a little bit of an upper bracket.
Gotcha.
But it's tighter, where it used to be, oh yeah, you can do it, no problem.
No problem,
and now you're going, well, you can do it if you stay under this price, but if you're going to this price, you can't. So it's tighter.
All right. Final question. Making sure that you start to look with patience.
Yes.
Patience.
Yes.
And rely on your agent.
For sure. And the whole thing with that is use the expertise that your agent is going to have when you start getting into these homes and evaluating, what needs to be done. Know what your limitations are on home improvements that you have the ability to do yourself, and go through these homes knowing that I really like this one, but there might be another one. And I had that wow moment with somebody yesterday that's been looking for 18 months.
18 months, kids.
Off and on, and they walked in and they're like, yep, this is what we've been waiting for. Yeah, such a good
Doesn't that
feeling.
just set your heart on fire?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so it's really, really exciting. And but you have to know that that's where that relationship comes into play, because you have to look at that client as not a paycheck, but somebody that you're going to have a long-term relationship with.
Heidi, how do we work with you guys?
Give us a call at 320-774-2400 or visit VoigtJohnson.com. Great gallery of agents. Taking you home with VoigtJohnson Real Estate, folks, every Thursday morning at 7:23. Saturdays at 7:50 in the morning. Start your home search at VoigtJohnson.com. Heidi, thank you. Thank you.